The sky was dark, heavy with smoke and ash. Acid rain fell slowly, burning small holes in whatever it touched. The world outside was broken. No cities left, no light, no order. Only silence and fear. She walked fast, holding her daughter close to her chest. The girl was shaking. Her thin arms were cold. Her clothes were wet and torn. Her face had no color. They had been walking for 2 days. No food, no shelter. Only the sound of thunder and the pain of hunger. Her boots were falling apart. Her lips were cracked. But she did not stop. That she had one goal, the house. People said there was a house on the far hill. A strange house that still had power, still had warmth. No one knew who lived there. Some said it was a trap. Some said a ghost lived inside. But many who went never came back. She had no choice now. The mother reached the tall gate. It stood strong and clean, untouched by dirt or fire. She looked up. Cameras blinked. She knew someone was watching. She took a deep breath and shouted, "Please, my daughter, she needs food." No answer. She looked around. The wind was sharp. Her daughter cried softly. She shouted again, louder this time, "I will do anything. Just feed her. Take me instead. Just one night with me." The gate clicked. It opened slowly. She stepped back, confused. No guards. Number. Voice. Then, the door of the house opened. A man stood there, tall, calm, wearing clean black clothes. His eyes were sharp, but his face had no anger. He looked at them for a few seconds. The woman lowered her eyes, ready for rejection, ready to beg again. But the man simply moved aside and said nothing. She hesitated for a moment, then walked in, holding her daughter tightly. The door closed behind them. Inside, the air was warm. The floor was clean. Lights glowed gently. The smell of food floated through the air. Her daughter looked up, surprised. They had not seen food in weeks. The man walked ahead without speaking. He pointed to a table. Plates were already set. Real bread, steamed vegetables, a warm drink. The girl ran to the table, her hands shaking. The mother watched the man carefully. Why wasn't he saying anything? Why did he let them in so easily? He finally spoke, but his voice was soft. "She can eat. You can rest." The mother stepped forward. "You heard me. I'm not asking for free help." He looked at her, still calm. "I heard. I didn't accept." She frowned, unsure what to say. "Then why let us in?" He looked away, towards the window. "Because she's a child. And this world has already taken too many." The mother said nothing. She sat near her daughter. They ate in silence. That night, the man gave them a room. The bed was warm, the sheets clean. A real roof over their heads. The girls slept quickly. But the mother stayed awake, listening, watching. Who was this man? Why was his house untouched? Why was he alone? The next morning, she found the man sitting in the main room. He was drinking tea, looking at a small screen on the wall. Lines of code moved fast across it. Too fast. She stepped closer. "Who are you?" He didn't turn around. "Someone who failed." She didn't understand. He stood and faced her. "You don't owe me anything. But you need to understand. This house is safe, for now. Outside, things are getting worse." She looked confused. "How do you know?" He didn't answer. Instead, he walked to a wall and pressed something. A hidden panel opened, showing a map, the whole region, marked with red zones, movement patterns, radiation levels. She stepped back. "What is this place?" He said quietly. "A memory. A machine. A mistake I built. Now trying to fix." She looked at her daughter sleeping on the couch. The man said, "You can stay. No deals, no price." She nodded slowly, but her mind was racing. Nothing in this world was free. Not anymore. Something was wrong, and she was going to find out what, but what she didn't see. Was the small light blinking behind the bookshelf? A signal had been sent. Someone somewhere now knew the house had visitors, and they were coming. Asterisk. Girl opened her eyes slowly. For the first time in weeks, she felt no cold on her skin. No burning wind, no noise of gunshots, no screams in the night. Only soft light and the smell of something sweet. Cinnamon, maybe. She sat up on the couch. Confused. The room was warm. The air was fresh. A small plant in the corner was alive, really alive. She had only seen green in old books. She touched the soft pillow beneath her head. It didn't feel real. The mother was in the next room, standing quietly near the window. She wasn't looking outside. She was staring at the man. He stood in the middle of the room, eyes closed, not moving. He had been like that for 43 minutes. No sound. No breathing. No blinking. It didn't feel like sleep. It felt like waiting. The mother moved carefully toward the kitchen. No cameras, no weapons, no locked doors. But everything inside the house looked wrong. Too perfect. The food on the table hadn't cooled. The lights never flickered. The air was always the same, as if the house itself was alive. She picked up a spoon. It was warm to the touch, not from heat, but from memory. It felt like it remembered being used. Before she could speak, the man's voice echoed calmly. "Your daughter is awake." She turned fast. He was still standing in the same place, eyes still closed, but he knew. She whispered, "Who are you?" He opened his eyes slowly. Not a threat. The girl stepped into the room, rubbing her eyes. "I had a dream," she said. The man looked at her with interest. "What did you see?" She paused. "A white room, a soft light, and someone calling my name, but not my name now, a different one." The man nodded. "It's starting." The mother grabbed her daughter's hand. "What do you mean it's starting?" He looked at them both. "She is remembering something she was never supposed to know." The mother raised her voice now. "We just needed food, one night, that's all." "Why is she dreaming like this?" The man walked to the wall. A panel opened. Without him touching it, a smooth black screen showed lines, heart rate, brainwaves, temperature, the girl's data, because this house remembers her. Even if she doesn't, the mother froze. That's not possible. But part of her knew. It might be. She had stolen her daughter from somewhere. From someone. But she never asked too many questions. She just wanted to escape, to survive. Now, the past was coming back through her child's dreams. That night, while the girl slept again, the mother searched the house. No wires. No computers. No power source, but everything worked. She opened a door at the end of the hall. A long room full of books, pictures, and screens. She saw a photo on the wall, a family, a man, a woman, a child. The man in the photo looked like the one who saved them. The child looked like her daughter. Same eyes, same smile, same scar on the chin. She stepped back. Her heart was racing. The man's voice came from behind her. That was her. Before she was lost, before the world burned. The mother turned. Slowly. "Then who is my daughter?" He stepped forward. "She's not yours. Not mine. She's what's left." Before she could speak again, a sound cut through the room, loud, low, distant. A warning. The man looked up at the ceiling. Lights turned red. "They found you," he said. The mother whispered. "Who?" He didn't answer. He moved fast. Faster than human. He picked up the girl gently, placed her in a capsule-like chair that rose from the floor. "Get ready. This house is not just a shelter, it's a memory vault. And now they want it back." Outside, dark shadows moved through. The trees. Not men, not machines. Something in between. The house had one more night to protect them, and one more secret to reveal. The house began to change. Walls that looked solid yesterday now had soft hums behind them. Floors that felt normal now felt warm, almost breathing. The girl stood in the hallway, staring at a painting. The longer she looked, the more it seemed to move. A woman in the painting smiled gently. Behind her, a small child stood, same hair, same eyes, exactly like her. She stepped closer, and the voice returned soft, cold, familiar. Do you remember your real name? She turned fast. No one there. She ran to her mother's room. The mother was already awake, packing a small bag, her hands shaking. We're leaving, she said. Something's not right here, the girl frowned. But I like it here. It feels like I've been here before. The man stood silently in the corner of the room, watching them both. That's because you have. The mother stepped in front of her daughter. You said she wasn't yours. Then what is she? The man didn't blink. She's a memory, built to survive. Later that day, while the mother searched for a way out, the girl explored quietly. The house didn't stop her. In fact, it seemed to guide her. A door opened with just her touch. It led to a narrow hallway, colder than the rest of the house. The walls were glass. Behind them, machines slept. Tanks filled with green light, and inside one of them, a body floated. A girl, just like her. Same face, same scar, same everything. She gasped and stepped back. The tank lit up. The eyes inside the glass opened. The man appeared behind her. You were never meant to find this so soon. The girl didn't speak. She just stared at the tank. Is that me? He walked slowly toward the glass. That was version 2. You are version 7. The girl turned toward him, her voice quiet. What happened to the others? He looked at her with something like regret. They couldn't handle the memories, but you are different. The mother found her daughter sitting alone. In the hallway, she looked pale. What did you see? The girl didn't answer. She only whispered, why didn't you tell me? The mother froze. Tell you what? That I'm not real. That I was made. That I'm not your daughter. Tears filled the woman's eyes. I didn't care where you came from. I only cared that you lived. The girl stood up. I feel like I'm someone else, someone who lost everything. The man entered slowly. She's remembering more each hour. The house is unlocking parts of her. She is becoming what she was always meant to be. The mother shouted, and what is that? He replied, the last key to humanity's future. That night, the girl dreamed again. She was standing in a room made of light. Around her, people in white coats were arguing. She's not stable. If we don't send her now, we lose everything. Her memory must be sealed. Then a woman came close. She knelt beside the girl and whispered, if you ever come back here, remember who you are. Your name is... But the dream ended before she could hear it. She woke up gasping. The window across the room was open, and someone was watching from the trees. They weren't alone anymore. Outside, the shadows moved closer. A signal was received. A match was found. And now the collectors were coming, not to help, not to heal, but to reclaim what was theirs. The past was no longer hidden. Now, it was awake. The birds stopped singing. Not one sound outside. No wind, no insects, no sky movement. The silence was loud. The man stood in the center of the living room, eyes fixed on something only he could see. His hand hovered in the air, as if touching invisible glass. The girl sat behind him, holding her knees. Her breath was slow, but her heartbeat was fast. The mother stood at the window, frozen. Then the lights flickered, not from power loss, from warning. The house whispered in a soft robotic voice, zone breach detected. The mother stepped back. Who's here? The man said calmly, not who, what. Outside, black shapes moved through the trees, not soldiers, not animals, creatures. Made of muscle, metal, and code. No faces. No weapons. They didn't need them. They were programmed to take what belonged to the project. And the girl was the project. Suddenly, a low vibration ran through the floor. The girl looked up. Why are they here? The man spoke without turning around. They trapped your memory signature. You woke up too fast. The mother stepped forward. Then help us escape. He looked at her, finally. Escape isn't survival. Staying alive means making the choice. Before she could reply, the front wall of the house turned transparent, a defensive shield revealing the forest beyond. There were 6 of them now. Standing still. Watching. Waiting. And then they moved. One slammed its arms into the shield. The room shook. Another climbed the walls like a spider, crawling upside down across the roof. The girl screamed, covering her ears, but the man remained calm. He whispered a single word, activate, and the house changed. The walls bent inward. Furniture slid into the floors. Lights turned red. And something deep underground began to hum like a beast waking up. From the kitchen ceiling, a drone dropped down, round, floating, silent. It scanned the girl and spoke. Primary subject locked. Defensive shield at 78%. Preparing. Memory containment fallback. The mother panicked. What does that mean? The man replied, if they breach the house, she forgets everything. Again, it's the only way to protect the data inside her. The mother shouted, she's not just data. Crash. A creature punched through the outer wall. Claws glowing red. The man moved faster than human. He jumped, spun mid-air, and drove a small blade through the creature's chest. No blood. Just sparks. Another broke through the back door, this time aiming for the girl. The mother blocked it with a chair. The creature tossed her across the room like paper. The girl screamed. The man reached her and held her close. Listen to me. You were built to survive this. But only if you trust me. In that moment, the girl looked into his eyes, and suddenly she remembered the white room, the long table, the cold voice saying, if she bonds with the protector unit, she cannot be controlled. She looked at him. You were made to guard me. He nodded. And I failed 6 times. But this time, he didn't plan to fail. He placed his hand on the floor. A pulse ran through the house. The walls expanded. Panels opened. Hidden weapons rose from the ground. And outside, the creatures stopped. They understood now. This was not a house. This was a fortress. Built around a girl who was never supposed to remember who she was. Now she had, and everything wanted her gone. From above, a red light blinked. A new ship entered the atmosphere. The true enemy had arrived, not to destroy, but to take her back. She woke up in the middle of a white field. No walls, no sky. Just light, endless white light. The grass under her was soft. But she didn't remember falling asleep. She didn't remember escaping or being caught. She stood slowly. Her clothes were dry. Her body was clean. No cuts. No bruises. It felt like a dream, but too sharp to be one. A voice echoed around her, calm, robotic. Hello, Subject 7. Do you accept your reality has been artificial? She turned in every direction. No one. Where am I? The voice answered, you are inside your own memory vault. The outer threat triggered a containment lock. This is your backup. She tried to run, but the world didn't change. The voice spoke again. Please remain calm. The protector unit is restoring your physical body. While you wait, would you like to review the truth? And without warning, the ground melted beneath her feet. She fell through light, into a memory. Now she was standing in a lab. Real people. Real glass. Real fear in the air. Scientists moved quickly around a central pod. Inside, a small girl, sleeping. A name written on the screen. LY, a human future yield. Program, Subject 7. She saw a younger version of the man, the protector, standing in the corner. Watching. Silent, no emotion on his face, but sadness in his eyes. A female scientist stepped forward in the memory and said, This child is the last successful template. Emotional structure balanced. Biological. Memory suppressed, but if she bonds with the protector unit, she might recover everything. Someone replied, then separate them. We built the protector to obey, not to care. But the memory froze mid-scene. The voice returned. You were created to remember only if the world failed. That time has come. The girl whispered, so I'm not human? The voice replied, you are what humans could have been, memory engineered, morally coded. Fearless, until they shut you down. She fell again. Now she stood in the ruined world, but years ago. Before the sky went black. Before cities burned. She saw people with machines in their veins. Minds sold to code. Truth replaced by comfort. They laughed while the earth broke. Her creators had tried to stop it. Tried to design better humans, pure, strong, empathetic. But the project was buried, hidden, shut down by fear. She was one of the last pieces. Hidden away in a fake life. Now the lie was broken. She knew who she was, not just a child, a code carrier, a moral seed. A blueprint for the future. She gasped and opened her eyes. Back in the real world, the house was burning, smoke above. Explosions outside. The man, her protector, was fighting. His body damaged, metal under skin exposed. One eye dark, he turned and saw her awake. His voice was weak. You came back. She stood tall now, no fear in her eyes. I remember everything. The mother, bleeding and coughing, crawled toward her. You're alive. The girl kneeled beside her. You protected me when you didn't even know who I was. That's real. That matters. The protector fell to one knee. They're coming through the west wall. You have 10 seconds to run. The girl shook her head. No more running. She stepped forward. Placed her hand on the floor. The house responded instantly. Walls straightened. Lights turned white. Systems rebooted. The house recognized its true master, and a new voice echoed. Command accepted. Subject 7 fully activated. Initiating final protocol. From above, a hidden satellite aligned. From below, the earth trembled. And outside, the attackers paused. They had made a mistake. They came for a child, but woke up a weapon. Asterisk. They had studied her, not for days, not for months, but for 12 years. Her DNA, her memories, her silence. Inside the underground server walls, they called her only one thing: the seed. A living archive, a moral design, a code that could rewrite human instinct. And now, she had activated. The commander watched her on the screen, standing calmly in the burning house. No armor, no weapon, but the power around her bent like gravity. He whispered to his team, don't engage, observe only. If she links fully with the protector, we won't be able to control her. Too late, the link had already begun, inside the house. She didn't blink as the smoke curled around her. The protector stood behind her, damaged, sparking, limping. His systems were breaking down, but his voice was steady. You're connected to something greater now. You don't need me anymore. She turned to him. You're wrong. Then she did something unexpected. She held his hand, and the entire system trembled. Not just the house, but everything that had ever been connected to her genetic line. Data flooded his mind. He gasped, not from pain, but from memory. He remembered his daughter, her laugh, her fall, her final breath. And how this girl was her, not by blood, but by choice. She had been copied from the dead, born again, not to live, but to fix what the living had destroyed. He dropped to one knee. Not from weakness, not from understanding. You're not a seed. He whispered, you're the answer. Far away, the commander gave a new order. Shut it down. Memory reset protocol. Burn the vault. We can't let her think she's real. But the girl had already heard him. She spoke aloud, no device. No mic, just mind a machine. I am real. And I remember all of you. Across the planet, black towers blinked. Across bunkers, lights turned red dot, and in every system that once called her test subject, one line of code appeared. Access revoked. Subject has awakened. The mother stood in the hallway, bleeding, exhausted, barely alive. The girl reached her. Held her close. You were the only real thing I ever knew. The mother coughed, tears in her eyes. Even if you weren't mine, you were always my daughter. The girl touched her forehead gently. And for a brief moment, the mother saw it all. The lab, the cloning, the tests, the lost versions. The night she escaped, with a memory-locked child in her arms. She had saved her, but never truly known who she was saving. Now, it didn't matter. She had raised her with love. And love made the code complete. Outside, the final wave of attackers prepared to break in. The girl stepped forward. The house pulsed with new energy. She raised her hand, not to fight, but to signal. And the forest answered. From beneath the roots, old defense systems forgotten by time woke up. Metal vines rose. Energy shields grew like flowers. And the sky split open. Above, a satellite turned its eye toward her, waiting for her command. She looked at the protector. He nodded once. She whispered, "No more running. Let them see what they tried to bury." And the sky responded. Light fell, not fire, not bombs, but truth, in its purest form. It erased every fake memory, burned every control system, unlocked every human left hiding in fear. The world wasn't ending. It was finally resetting, because one girl, one living memory, chose not to forget who she really was. It began with silence, not fear, not chaos, just stillness. The machines had stopped. The enemies had vanished. The world, for the first time in years, had no noise to give. Ash floated from the sky like soft snow. The forest no longer moved. And in the middle of it all, she stood, barefoot, calm, watching the sky reset itself. The satellite above no longer blinked. It now waited for her final command. The protector stood beside her, what was left of him. One arm missing, half his face metal. His voice soft but clear. The system is yours now. Every server, every vault, every decision. You end it, or rewrite it. The girl looked down at her hands. So small, but now powerful enough to erase everything. Or give it another chance. Behind her, the mother was sitting under a broken tree. Tired, alive, her eyes were watching. But she said nothing. She trusted her. That was all she had left to give. From deep underground, the vault's final warning echoed. Memory core at 100%. Global AI grid ready for reset. Human behavioral code rewrite possible. Awaiting Subject 7's decision. The girl stepped forward. One button. Blue meant healing, a second chance. But the world would remember the pain. Red meant cleansing. A wipe of all systems, all records, all history. Start fresh. But forget the cost. She asked one question. Not to the machines, not to the sky. But to the protector. What would you choose? His voice cracked. I was built to obey. But you were built to feel. My choice doesn't matter anymore. Only yours does. She walked over to the mother, kneeled down. Held her hand. Do you still see me as your daughter? The woman didn't even blink. You always were. Even when I didn't know who you were. My heart did. The girl closed her eyes. Inside her mind, every version of herself, the failed ones, the broken ones, the lost ones, gathered around her. None of them asked for revenge. They only asked to be remembered. So she stood, took a deep breath, and pressed neither. She didn't choose blue. She didn't choose red. She chose a third option, hidden deep inside the system. Gray. Not reset. Not revenge, but release. She freed the memory. Not just hers, but all of it. The truth, the guilt, the mistakes, the love, the sacrifice, all unlocked and sent across the world. Into every screen, every radio, every system still breathing. The world would now remember everything. Not be rewritten, not be erased, but face the truth and grow from it. That was her final gift. The protector smiled, even as his systems failed. She made a new option. Something we never programmed. The mother cried silently. Not from pain, but from peace. The girl turned one last time. No more hiding. No more lies. No more subject. I am just Laia. She walked into the center of the clearing. Light rose around her, not burning, not blinding, just warm. Then she was gone. Not dead. Integrated. Every system now carried a piece of her, not to control, but to remind what humanity was, what it became, and what it could still be. Years later, the world had changed. Small green towns, people growing food again, telling stories again, healing. And in every town, a statue stood, not of a soldier. Not of a hero, but of a girl, standing still, hand outstretched, as if offering something invisible. Not power, not answers, but choice.